Hey guys, welcome to the Learn with Sandra show channel. I'm Alexandra and I run one of the leading platforms helping students and adults, excel in English examinations and master everyday communication. So guys, what are we doing today? Today we are solving post-UTME English past question for Obafemi Awolowo University, OAU, and we are solving just 20 questions. So these are questions that are gathered from educational forums online, and I cannot guarantee they are official, but these are questions that are labeled past questions on these forums, right? One thing I know for sure is that these are questions that are tested at that level for advanced English learners. Okay, so it's safe to practice with them. So let's begin with question one. So 1 to 5 are questions under filling the gap with the appropriate word, right? So let's start with question one. My daughter would become dash if I paid no attention to her behavior. Now, option A is a misspelling. The word does not exist. Okay. Option B, rhapsodically, from the word rhapsodic, it means a great feeling of rapture or a great feeling of delight. Okay, when we say rascally is being mischievous, especially in a naughty way or a playful way. And this is the answer to this question because it's an adjective. Okay, so when we say rascality, now rascality is a noun and is the act of being a rascal. So the reason we'll pick option C is because option D does not fit in grammatically in the sentence, right? We can't say become rascality. Okay, so rascally is an adjective, and a common misconception in English grammar is that every word that ends with ly is an adverb, which is not the case. Okay, not all words ending with ly are adverbs. Some are adjectives describing a noun. Okay, adverbs describe a verb, right? So the best answer to this question is definitely option C, rascally. And two, when the soldiers saw that resistance was dashed, they stopped fighting. Option A, we have inadvertent, and it means, unintentional, unexpected. When we think of futile, we think of having no purpose, no chance for success. When we think of inappropriate, we think of not appropriate, not suitable. And then when we think of insurmountable, we think of something that is too big, too great, or too difficult to overcome. Now, the best answer to this question is futile because resistance was futile will mean resistance was not effective, was not yielding results. We can't say resistance was insurmountable because we'll be saying resisting was the only thing that we could not overcome, which does not make sense, right? So the best answer based on context is option B, futile. Option 3. The last time the man saw his ex-wife, she dash. Now, judging by the options provided, we can tell that this question is under tense, right? Now, the question is in its past tense with the verb saw. So we know that the action that follows should match the past plan or intention of his ex-wife. So let's take a look at option A. Was thinking of a proposal or starting a new business. So much words, so this is not the answer to the question. Of a proposal of starting. Okay. Option B, was intending to start a new business. Past continuous, not the answer to the question, right? Option C, intended to start a new business. Short, clean, simple, and in past tense, intended. Okay. Option D, was going to start a new business. Past continuous. This is not the answer to the question. So the final answer to the question, which is the best answer, is option C, intended to start a new business. Question 4. 2 days before the execution, the robber was taken to the place where he would be dashed. With doleful eyes, he looked at the spot where his execution dashed. Now, this question is also under tense, right? And in the question, we see was taken, past tense, and we see looked, past tense, okay? Now, let's talk about the word hang. The word hang has two definitions, okay? The first definition is, to suspend something, okay? And the past tense of that is hung. The past participle is also hung. Now, the second definition for hang, the word hang, is to execute by hanging, as in punishment, right? And the past tense for that is hanged. And then the past participle is also hanged. Now, in this context, we see that it is for execution, right? For execution by hanging, right? So the past tense will be hanged and the past participle will also be hanged. Okay, so let's get that correct. So option A, we have hung. This is not a correct past participle. Okay, so we can easily eliminate option A, and then what's to be taken is incorrect grammar, right? Option B, we have hanging. We don't need hanging. This is continuous, right? We don't need a shall take place. Future tense doesn't match. Now, option C, hung. Remember, we are not looking at to suspend. We are looking at for execution. Okay, so it can't be hung. Okay, so we eliminate option C. Now, option D is the correct answer because hanged is used for execution and was to take place is also correct. It fits perfectly in this sentence grammatically. So, option D is the final answer to this question. Option 5, don't dash, said the leader. I want a decision now. Now, let's take a look at the option and see which one fits appropriately. Okay, so option A, we have prevaricate. Prevaricate means to avoid answering directly. Okay, it means to be evasive. Okay, when we say predicate, predicate is to base something on a particular principle or idea. When we say precipitate, it means to cause something to happen suddenly, right? When we say be pejorative, it means to express, criticism or to express disapproval. So the best answer to this question is prevaricate because we can see that it has to do with someone demanding for a response, someone demanding for a decision now, someone demanding that the other person be direct, right? Not beat around the bush, be straightforward, right? Because a decision needs to be made, right? Immediately. So option A is the best answer to this question. Question 6 and 7 are questions on the sounds. Okay, so let's proceed with question 6. Now the word is women. So which of this sound is in the word women? Okay, so the answer to this question is option A, E. Okay, so the word is transcribed W, E, E, and N. Okay, so it's women. Okay, so option B, we have as in egg, as in many, right? We have O. It is written like this or like this. Okay, so O as in go, as in so, as in and then we have U sound as in should, could, right? So the best answer is definitely option A. For sounds, right, generally it is more difficult or challenging practically for second language English learners, but theoretically it is quite easy, simple to master and learn. Okay, for example purpose, it is very simple to learn the sounds in English language, so good luck. So the best answer is definitely option A, E. Question 7. Okay, so this question is on that consonant sound. So the sound is V. Okay, so which of the option contains V? Okay, so this sound is a voiced sound. We have the voiceless counterpart, which is F. Okay, so there's a vibration in the larynx. So all you need to do is put your hand here, place your hand here, and produce the sound V. And then the other voiceless F. Okay, so option A, we have off. Okay, option B, we have fan, voiceless. Option C, we have of, voiced. Okay, option D, we have for. Okay, voiceless. Okay, so the sounds are similar, only that one is voiced and the other is voiceless. Okay, so option C is the final answer to this question. The car owner does not think about the dash of his vehicle and other payments involved in owning it. Okay, so the best answer to this question is depreciation, because depreciation means the loss of value over time, and that will fit into this context appropriately. When we think of transportation, transportation is the purpose of the car, right? When we say calculation, it does not fit the context. When we say appreciation, it is the opposite of depreciation, and it is used in the context of real estate investment savings, right? So the best answer is option B, depreciation. And 9, we shall offer a good job to a dash to register guests in the Central Hotel. Okay, so let's take a look at the option and see which one fits the context. So option A, we have waiter. Waiter is a person that serves food and drink, right? It's not needed in this context. We're looking for someone whose job is to register people, right? We have watchman. Watchman is someone that provides security. Cashier is someone that handles payments and transactions. Now, receptionist is a person that welcomes guests and, registers guests in an office or a hotel. So the best answer to this question is definitely option D, receptionist. Not dash sense in what that politician has just said. Option A, we have many. Many is used with countable nouns. Now, plenty is used in informal statements, right? And it does not fit in this context grammatically. Lot of is also used in informal statements and it does not fit here. Now, option D, we have much. Much is used with uncountable nouns like sense, and it is used in negative, statements. So the best answer to this question is definitely option D, much. Question 11. I'm sorry I can't give you any of the oranges. I have dash left. Now let's talk about few and little. Few is used for countable nouns. Little is used for uncountable nouns. So in this context, we see oranges. So orange is a countable noun. So we can easily strike out option B and C, right? So the answer is between option A and D. So what is few and a few? Few is almost none or nothing. A few is some, but not enough to share. Now, when we think of tone, right, a few is positive, few is negative, same as little. A little is positive, little is negative. So I want you to think of a few and few like this logically, using quantity, implied quantity. A few is much more than few. Now that we've established this, let's go back to the context. What is the context saying? The context is more about no generosity or limited generosity, right? And so the best answer to this question is option D. I can't give you any of the oranges means there are some, but not enough to share. So the sentence implies or emphasizes limited generosity over total scarcity. It is not about total scarcity. If it is about total scarcity, we would lean more into few. I have few left. Okay. Now, my analysis is based on context and the literal meaning of individual words or phrase. A few means some, but not enough to give. Few means almost none. Now, if your analysis is based on, nuances or some other logic, you'll be quick to settle for option A. And then you will say that a few contradicts the sorry, I'm sorry, the apology. Right? Why should you be sorry when you have some? You should be sorry because you have hardly nothing, right? And then you settle for A. But the fact is, you can be sorry that you have some, but not enough to give out to another person. Now, let's go back to the context, right? What is the sentence? The sentence provided, what is it saying? Is it emphasizing limited generosity or is it emphasizing total scarcity? This sentence, I believe, emphasizes, limited generosity. Now, this is what total scarcity will look like. I'm sorry, I can't give you any of the oranges because I have few left. I need them for my lunch. Now, this last clause has sealed it. Then we can say it implies total scarcity and we can pick few. So the best answer to this question is definitely option D, a few. Question 12. Lawrence did not win the contract dash the long run. So the correct phrase is in the long run and it means eventually. Okay, so option A, option C, and D are not correct grammatically and even idiomatically. Okay, so I've heard many people say on the long run, and that's because prepositions are not used the way it is used in our native languages, right? And so we tend to use it based on logic, how it sounds, rather than grammar. For example, on the run, on the go, on the road are correct English phrases, right? And so it might feel right or sound, okay to say on the long run because of familiar patterns, right? But the answer to this question is definitely option B, in. Question 13. Memuna was careful not to fall dash a man's trick. Now, when we think of fall into, we think of trap, we think of a situation where you fall into trouble, right? This is not the answer to the question. When we think of fall for, it means to be deceived by. It also means to develop romantic relationship for someone, right? Based on the first definition, we can see option B is the final answer to this question because it would mean to be deceived by someone's trick. When we think of fall in, we think of fall in love, we think of fall in line in military terminology, right? When we say fall with, it is not a standard expression. So the best answer to this question is definitely option B, fall for. 14. The commander had placed his troop dash alert. In alert, not correct. On alert means ready for action. At alert, not a standard usage. Over alert, not a correct expression. Okay, in this structure. So the best answer to this question is definitely option B, on alert. 15. Are you deaf? I asked you. So if you want to solve this question, you need to think of reported speech, and in reported speech, the structure changes from direct to indirect and the tense changes basically, right? So in this case, the direct speech is how old are you? Then the indirect becomes I asked how old you were. Okay. Another example is think of me asking you this question. Where are the students? If you want to report what I've just said, you say Alexandra asked or she asked where the students were. Okay, so the best answer to this question is definitely option A. Question 16. What is a sentence? Now, if you examine the options, you see that these options are what make up, a sentence. But option C stands out. It tells us clearly what it is, right? It is a group of words giving a complete sense. But let's play around a group of words, okay? This is the best answer though. Now, if I say go, is it a sentence? Yes, it can be regarded as a sentence, an imperative sentence which gives command. Now, some scholars have argued that it should be termed, one word sentences like go, run, come, sit, but let's leave that for the scholars, okay? So, at your level, option C is the best answer to this question. What is a clause? Option A, it is made up of words, yes, but it is not clear, it's not enough, it is vague, right? Option B, it is made up of sentences. Now, this is not correct because clauses make up sentences, not the other way around, okay? Option C, it is made up of phrases. Now, this is not clear, right? Phrases are smaller than clauses. So, when we think about the grammatical unit of a sentence, it starts with morphemes, word, phrase, clause, and then sentence. So, phrase is at the lower hierarchy, right? We have phrase before the clause, right? So it is smaller than a clause. Okay. So option D, it is a group of words containing a finite verb. Yes, this is correct. It's a group of words containing a finite verb. And when we say finite verb, we mean a verb that shows tense. And when we think of tense, we think of time and aspect. Okay. Time as in present simple, past, and aspect as in how the action happens. Okay, we think of simple, we think of continuous, we think of perfect, and then perfect continuous. Okay, so the best answer to this question is option D. 18. What is a phrase? Now, when we consider the grammatical unit making up the sentence, we think of morphemes, word, phrase, clause, and then sentence. It follows that order. So, phrase is number 3 in ascending order. Okay. Now, option A, it is a group of words containing a finite verb. Yes, it is a group of words, but it does not contain a finite verb. What is a finite verb? A finite verb is a verb that shows tense. What is tense? Time, that is present, past, future, and aspect. How the action happened, right? Simple, continuous, perfect, perfect, continuous. That is aspect. Okay. That means that a phrase would either have a non-finite verb or no verb at all. So for no verb at all, we would have examples like under the bed, on the table. These phrases have no verb. And for non-finite verb, there are 3 phrases that uses non-finite verbs. Okay, we have gerund phrase, we have participial phrase, which is sometimes called participle phrase because it is derived from participles, right? And the third one, we have infinitive phrase, which is sometimes called to infinitive. Okay, now let me give examples of these phrases. Number 1, gerund phrase. Reading a book makes me happy. Reading a book is a gerund phrase. It starts with reading that looks like a verb, but it acts as a noun. Okay. The second is participial. For example, the girl baking a cake is my sister. Baking a cake is participial phrase. It starts with baking. The word looks like a verb, but it acts as an adjective in that phrase. The last is to infinitive or infinitive phrase. And an example of that, which is the easiest to identify, is I want to read a book. To read a book, okay, it starts with to, that is infinitive phrase, and it can act as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. But in this sentence, I want to read a book, it is acting as a noun. So these are examples of phrases that uses non-finite verbs, okay? Option B, it is a group of words giving a complete sense. Yes, it is a group of words, but giving a complete sense is not correct. Okay, For example, under the bed does not make complete sense. On the table does not make complete sense. To read a book does not make complete sense. Okay, so option C, it is a group of words, yes, not containing a finite verb. Yes, this is correct. Okay, so option C is the final answer to this question. But let's have a look at option D. It usually begins with a preposition or a participle. Yes, it begins with a preposition. Like the example I gave, on the table, on is a preposition. Also, it begins with a participle, right? With the example I gave, the girl baking a cake. Baking a cake is, participial phrase, and it begins with the participle baking. Okay. But you have to be careful with frequencies, words that express frequencies. Okay. Usually, always. Okay. They are distractors. So you need to avoid them, especially when they don't relate. Okay. So option C is the final answer to this question. An example of a finite verb is dash. Okay, a finite verb is a verb that shows tense. And when we say tense, we mean time and aspect. Time as in present, past, future, aspect as in simple, perfect, continuous and perfect continuous. Okay, so option A, going to school every day. Going is gerund, it is present participle. Okay, so it is non-finite. Given is position as the principal. Given is non-finite. It is past participle. Okay. While going to school, going is non-finite here also. It is what present participle. While they were going to school, were going is a finite verb. Okay. It shows tense when it comes to, time and aspect. We know the time is in past and we know that it is, continuous, right? And it also matches the subject day. Okay, so the best answer to this question is definitely option D. So the last question, guys, what is tense? Okay, option A, it has to do with the present, past, and future times. This is true, but let's take a look at option B. It is a correspondence between the form of the verb and the concept of time. This is accurate, okay? Option C, it is derived from the Latin word transpire. This is false, okay? It is derived from the Latin word tempus, which means time. Option D, it is a controversial topic in linguistics. This is a distractor, just strike it out. Okay, so it is between option A and B. Option B is the final answer to this question. It's the best. Okay, when we speak of tense, we can't speak of tense without talking about verb. So when we speak of tense, it is time and aspect. Time as in present, past, future, and aspect as in simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. And there are 12 types of tenses. Okay, 3 under time, 4 under aspect. 3 times 4, 12. Okay, so all you need to do is put them together. Starting with present tense, we have simple present tense, we have present continuous, we have present perfect, and we have present perfect continuous. Okay, and then you do the same for past and future. All together, we have 12. Okay, it's very easy to memorize and master. Okay, now let's drill ourselves by using the subject I and the verb teach to show the 12 type of tenses we have. Let's go. Okay, I teach, I am teaching, I have taught, I have been teaching. Past tense, I taught, I was teaching, I had taught, I had been teaching. Future, I would teach, I will be teaching, I will have taught, I will have been teaching. That's it, guys. The final answer to this question is definitely option B. So finally, we've concluded today's tutorial and I'm sure you've learned something, if not a lot, right? So please do well to engage with this video, like, comment, share, turn on your notifications, subscribe if you haven't, okay? Till I see you in my next video, guys. Bye.